Hi guys, as you know, it is Christmas Eve of 2016. Okay, so in one of my other videos, I have mentioned that I would make a video about do's and don'ts when helping a visually impaired person. For those of you guys who are watching my videos for the first time, if you don't know, I have a visual impairment. So if you watch my like videos from like a few years ago, that's what my videos were on. Like they were on visual impairment. So yeah, okay. I'm gonna be telling you the do's, and then I'll be telling you the don'ts. Okay, so do's. When you're interacting with a visual impaired person, if you don't know them, you just say you introduce yourself so that way they know who you are, like saying, oh hi, it's Jack, or oh hi, it's Susan, or whatever, yeah. So if you are seeing the same visually impaired person more than once, for the first few times, keep identifying yourself until they recognize your voice. Okay. Um, all right. So when you encounter a visually impaired person who may look lost, ask if they need assistance first. If they say yes, then you can go right ahead and help them. Right. So, but if they say I'm fine, just say just okay, and then just go on and do your own thing. Right. But if you see a visually impaired person in the snow, like walking in the walking like in a sidewalk that's covered in snow, just like if they look lost, just offer to help, and make sure they get to their destination safely, because in the snow it's very hard for us to navigate. Like I find it hard to navigate as a visually impaired person because it covers my landmarks. Yeah. Okay, so but when you're helping a visually impaired person, just ask do you need help? Do you need to go somewhere? Can I help you to a place or something like that, etc., etc. Right? So, like for example, if a visually impaired person tells you, "Oh, I need to catch the number 11," do you know where it is, or and so forth, right? So if you're not too sure, just try to look for the bus stop that the visually impaired person wants. But if he or she knows and they're familiar with the place, then just kind of let them lead you there or something, Okay, so make sure. Yeah, so when the visually impaired person is lost, make sure you help them to their correct destination, because if you mess up and you lead them to the wrong destination, it really frustrates them. So, it frustrates me too as a visually impaired person. Okay, so when you're guiding a visually impaired person across the street, for example, or in a construction site, you wanna offer them their elbow, and they're gonna hold on to your elbow. Okay. Okay, so this is the proper way to guide a visually impaired person. So it's called a sighted guide. Here's not to do when okay, so please do not just grab a visually impaired person when you see when you see them on the sidewalk, because first of all, it freaks them out. And it freaks me out too. It freaks us who are visually impaired. This is because we don't know who the person is when they just go and grab us or something like that. That's called invading our personal space. Like if you're not gonna do that to someone who's sighted, you shouldn't do that to someone who's visually impaired. Okay, so. Yeah, like I find that rather annoying, and this is what people do to me at times. Yeah, so also when you help a visually impaired person across a street that's not safe, don't just leave them in the middle of the road. Don't just take them across and then just leave them there. Like you want to guide them to the other side, right? So yeah. Also, please do not lead a visually impaired person to the wrong destination, right? So if they specifically tell you the destination they want to go to, you want to make sure they're at the right destination, right? So, as I was leaving the mall, I almost went the wrong way, so I went back to I tried to go back to where I was, and I was gonna restart my route. But then, an older man comes and asks, can I help you? And so I'm like, I need to catch the 190 stop. And he's like, I don't know where the 190 stop is, but I know where the main bus stop is, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I need to go to the 190 stop and stuff like that, right? But he led me to the fucking wrong bus stop twice. Like, he almost led me to, he almost put me on the wrong bus. And I wouldn't have gotten home on time if I didn't tell him that it was the wrong bus. And so, you know what, like, I told him I need to go cross the 144th Avenue, past Samuel Lizard High School, cross 66th Street, and that's where my 190 is, and stuff like that. And he's like, oh my god, I don't have all day. And I'm like, it's not gonna take all day, it's only gonna take, like, 5 minutes. Like, come on. Come on, you know? But yeah, like, it's just so annoying. And but also one thing he messed up on was he misgendered me. So he used the fucking wrong pronoun when he was asking someone to escort me across the street, you know? He referred me as her, not him, and I had to correct him twice. It was so annoying. But honestly, like, after he led me to the wrong bus stop, he just left me. He just left me and didn't say anything. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? This, you know? But thank God, there was another man that was at that bus stop, and I asked him, this is the 190 stop here, and he's like, no, the 182, the 11 and the 10 stop here. And so I told the second guy, I need to get to the 190 bus stop. And he's like, I'm gonna miss my bus, and I was like, would you rather help like what's more important, helping a visually impaired person who could be disorientated or catching your bus, right? And he's like, but then he's like, he was willing to help me to the 190 bus stop, so I told him where to go and stuff like that. So I told him I have to cross that crosswalk, cross 66th Street, and then I had to. And then that's where the 190 is. So he was willing to help me and stuff like that. Like, the second guy was really helpful, and, you know, I really appreciate him for that. He led me to the right bus stop. Well, the first guy couldn't because he was a fucking idiot. Like, sorry for my language. But yeah. Okay. You know what annoys me? This is what you should never do to a visually impaired person. Do not make us play the guessing game. It's annoying. Like, don't make us guess who you are. That's stupid. It doesn't hurt to identify yourself to a visually impaired person. Like, if we don't recognize your voice right away, identify yourself. You know, like, a lot of times, if we only see if we don't see the person often, of course we're not gonna recognize their voice. But if we see the person on a regular basis, like every day, then we're gonna start to recognize their voice, and you won't need to identify yourself to us, right? So, yeah, like, do not make us play the guessing game. You know, it's rude. And yeah, when you see me with someone that's helping me, for example, like someone I know, such as a sister or brother or like a teacher, you know. Don't, like, you know, like, it's, I really encourage you to directly talk to me if you want to ask me if I want anything or whatever. Like, don't go to that person, right? So, like, just, you know, like, don't go to the person that's helping me, you know, because you know, like, it's like saying I don't have a voice, you know, like, it's like, oh, you're just assuming that they know what I want and blah blah blah, you know. And it's just, yeah. And you know what? The worst thing to do to a visually impaired person is move the furniture on them, like in the house or whatever, without even, like, giving them advance notice, right? Like, or move their things around. You know, because they have to rely on their memory to know where things are. Like, in this case, I have to rely on my memory. So, for example, if you like move, for example, if the paper towel roll, for example, is on the table and you decide to move it to the counter without telling me, I'm not gonna know where it is right away. I have to like look for it, you know? It takes me more time. Like, you know, that's something you should never do with a visually impaired person. And also, don't trick a visually impaired person. Like, don't tell them that this is their house when it's not, you know? Or don't tell them it's the don't purposely tell them it's the 190 when it's actually like the 181 or whatever, the bus, like whatever, you know? Because it makes us frustrated, you know? And you know what's sad? What's the most what's sad of all? Like, visually impaired people get tricked a lot. Like when it comes to like wanting to know what kind of banknote it is, right? So like I don't, you know what's sad is that the United States does not have accessibility features on their money, and so visually impaired or blind people who have to rely on strangers to know what money it is, they're vulnerable because a stranger can tell them, like, for example, oh, this is a $20 bill when it's actually like a 50, right? Or if it's a single, they tell you it's a single when it's a 20 or whatever, right? So yeah, I watched this show called What Would You Do, and there was a scenario about a blind / visually impaired person getting robbed. And so there's this woman, she tells the man who is blind or visually impaired that the 20s are singles, but they're not. They're $20 bills. And she tells him, "Oh, you have enough for a cup of coffee." And then he forks the money over to her. But the good thing is that other people stood up for him, you know, because he's vulnerable, you know. Like, I would be vulnerable too, you know, if I lived in the States and I relied on strangers to know what money it is, I could get tricked. I can get ripped off easily, right? So, yeah. But I'm glad it's not the case in Canada because the Canadian banknotes have tactile markings and large print numbers, so that way the low vision, partially sighted, and completely blind people can identify what kind of money it is. Yeah, so never trick a visually impaired person. You know, so the meanest thing to do, again, is to move furniture on the visually impaired person. Also to lie to them about what denomination a banknote is. And also what I hate is purposely changing your voice to trick a visually impaired person. That's not funny, because we solely have to rely on voice to identify who the person is. Like for like a lot of us, right? A lot of us who are severely sighted impaired or completely blind. Yeah. Avoid using terms such as over here and over there, you know, when you're directing a visually impaired person, because it doesn't mean anything to us. Like, over there can mean behind me, over there can mean to the right of me, and so forth. So like use specific terms like you go to the right, and as soon as you pass the mailbox, you want to turn left, and so on, right? Don't just say over here and over there. Yep. Never grab a visually impaired person's cane when you're assisting them. First of all, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous for me and other people who are visually impaired, because we rely on that cane as a tool to get around, so as a tool of independence. And so if you grab our cane, you risk having us bump into things, so don't do that. Okay, so I hope that helps. Yeah, so watch my previous videos from like 3-4 years ago, and yeah, those videos help other people like learn about what visual impairment is, and how to help someone who's visually impaired. And also, I also make videos for people who are also visually impaired, and they need to learn how to cope with it and stuff like that. So I make videos about that. So yeah, anyways, I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and whenever I have time, I'll make more videos. Okay, so see you guys.